when confidence becomes the obstacle.
Path begins.
Long ago, two friends left their village on the same morning. Both had heard rumors of a distant city beyond the mountains, a city where fear ended, where grief ended, where nothing needed to be defended. Some called it freedom, others called it peace. Few had seen it. Both men vowed to find it. One of them was named Arun. The other was named Sona. Arun was admired by everyone. Quick-minded, confident, articulate. Whenever travelers gathered around a fire, Arun was the one speaking. Sona was different, quiet, thoughtful, often uncertain. He asked too many questions. At least, that was what people said. When the two friends departed, most villagers agreed on one thing. If anyone would reach the city of freedom, it would be Arun. For many months they traveled together. They crossed rivers, climbed cliffs, endured storms. Whenever they met travelers coming from the mountains, Sona asked questions. Arun asked fewer. He preferred drawing conclusions. "Why keep asking?" he would say. "The path is obvious." Sona never argued, yet somehow he continued asking. One evening they reached a fork in the road. A weathered sign stood in the moonlight. The writing had almost disappeared. The left road descended into a valley. The right road climbed into mist-covered hills. Sona unfolded the map given by an old guide months earlier. "I can't tell which road is correct." Arun laughed. "You worry too much." "How do you know?" "I just do." And without hesitation, he walked into the mist. After a long silence, Sona followed. Years passed. The road became harder, the mountains steeper, the weather colder. Something strange began happening to Sona. His energy faded. His confidence disappeared. Some mornings he could barely rise. The path seemed pointless. The destination felt impossibly far away. One night beside a dying fire, he confessed, "I think I've lost my way." Arun shook his head. "I never have such doubts." Sona looked at him with envy. How fortunate it must be to feel so certain. Then came the day everything changed. They arrived at a vast plateau where hundreds of travelers had gathered. At its center stood an old guide. People traveled from distant lands to seek his advice. Arun stepped forward immediately. "I know this path well," he announced. The crowd turned toward him. "I have understood the road completely." The guide smiled. "Wonderful." The crowd nodded approvingly. Sona felt smaller than ever. The guide continued. "Then perhaps you can help these travelers." Arun stood taller. "Of course." The guide pointed toward the mountains. "Describe the road beyond the next ridge." Silence. Arun frowned. The guide waited. The crowd waited. Arun opened his mouth, then closed it. For the first time in many years, he realized something terrifying. He had spoken about the road so often that he had stopped looking at it. The plateau became very quiet. The guide turned to Sona. "And you?" Sona stared at the ground. "I don't know if I understand the road." The guide nodded. "What part confuses you?" For hours they studied the map together. The guide asked questions. Sona answered, sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly. Each mistake revealed something new. Each question sharpened his vision. Slowly, the road began to make sense. Not because someone told him what to think, because he learned how to look. That evening, the guide led them into a forest. There, he pointed to a giant tree. The trunk was split. Its branches hung broken. "What destroyed it?" he asked. The travelers looked for lightning scars. There were none. They looked for axe marks. There were none. Then they noticed thick vines wrapped around the trunk. The guide touched them gently. The tree was not destroyed from outside. It was destroyed by what quietly grew upon it. He looked at Arun, then at Sona. Neither spoke. Years later, travelers would tell stories about those two friends. Many remembered Arun, the brilliant speaker, the man who always seemed certain. Few remembered how often he was lost. Others remembered Sona, the uncertain one. The man who admitted confusion, the man who kept asking, the man who listened, the man who reached the city. And those who understood the story would say, the greatest danger on the path is not always doubt. Sometimes it is the confidence that no longer investigates. For the traveler who says, "I do not know," may still be looking, but the traveler who says, "I already know," may have stopped.